It was so damn worth to wait every second, every day, to wait for you to hold my hand. And there is so much more to say. I could kiss you for a lifetime, stay awake to watch you sleep. was so damn worth the pain. Sleepless nights and countless days. You're my song after the rain. Oh babe, there's so much more to say. I protect you for a lifetime. Keep you warm and keep you safe. Fall in love with your sweet eyes. You're the love of my life. You're the love of my life.
You ever get the feeling that everything in America is completely fucked up? You know that feeling that the whole country is like 1 inch away from saying, that's it, forget it?
Okay, guys, so what I learned today in the few moments of being on the internet and late last night, there's a different form of propaganda. I don't even know if I can call it propaganda. Maybe it's a true tit for tat, but there seems like there's some beef between Elon Musk and Bill Gates, which is kind of weird because both of them want to put some kind of microchip inside of you. Right? Is that more the direction that we're going, is who can put a chip in who first? I don't really know. And there's also some stuff going on with Julian Assange. Now, I know that probably half of you are going to tell me that Assange is a shill and the CIA works with him and da-da-da. You're probably right. I'm with you on that. But I think that we don't need to forget that he has put some, not him himself, but WikiLeaks has put some very interesting stuff out before, right? And it makes people think, which is good. If you can at least get people thinking, I almost feel like the same way with Alex Jones. It's kind of like if you could at least get them into the door. The problem is once they get stuck there and they don't look anywhere else for information, just trusting one source is never a great idea. And I love this. No worries, time is just an illusion. That's so perfect. By the way, guys, Davy Crocco is doing, I think y'all are doing the Midnight Crockpot tonight, really, really late. So, that's like why I made tea. I made some Earl Grey tea. I've got my tea. I'll be caffeinated and I'll be up to watch the stream. Elite class warfare, and Elon is the controlled guy that, let's say, is like, it is what it, yeah. That's kind of how I feel about Elon. Everybody looks at him like he's some kind of god. And really the best thing that he's made is probably this thing, the not a flamethrower from the Boring Company. That's might be the coolest thing because you don't have to, drop $100,000 on a fucking Tesla. All right, I'm not going to rant. We're going to jump straight into the news. I won't bore you tonight. I'll try not to, at least. Now, before we get into it, I'll take 30 seconds. If you feel the need to get your hands on some gold or silver, please check out Wise Wolf Gold and Silver Exchange. And I told you guys that here pretty soon we'll be doing a giveaway. I did find out that the coin that I was waiting on is going to take about a month to get here, but I think that I have something else that I could do a giveaway with. Now, I'll wait until I kind of show you what you're going to be getting before I discuss the rules. But kind of keep up with the streams, because here in the next couple days I'm going to pick out a coin and we'll go through and we'll figure out the rules on what to do. And then hopefully we'll be doing a pretty cool giveaway. Or you guys will think it sucks. Either way, it's totally cool. Either way, that is totally fine with me. You might just think I'm some nerd with my stupid coins. So before I talk about the whole Elon thing, I kind of wanted to get into this because every now and again, we get this trickle of news that Assange is having health issues. He's suicidal. He's being moved here. He's moved there. All kinds of things are going on, right? So Assange is always on kind of like the back burner for, I guess, truth or news whenever they need us to go and focus on something else. So there could be a little bit of truth to this, but just take it with a grain of salt. All right? Like I said before, WikiLeaks has put out some great things into the world for people to look into, but at the same time, you have to wonder, do they just trickle things out? Let's go back to Pizzagate and how all of that got started. That got started because of WikiLeaks, right? And then not too long after that, we get Q. So now you have a bunch of Q-tards injecting hopium every single day. The problem with the way that went is anytime that they release something, it's only left or right. So it still plays into that whole paradigm, right? And most people that look into the information, instead of taking all of it in and going, okay, both sides are bad. We've got this elite class that want to literally control all of us. Instead of looking at it that way, they like the news when bad news comes out about the left, or they only like the news when bad news comes out about the right. And nobody wants to look at the bigger picture of it's all a problem. And I don't really understand why they never really put out, like, let's go back to the whole Pizzagate thing. It was very one-sided. Why could we not get, it can't be that hard to get Republican emails and the weird scandals that they're doing over there as well, right? So it's very one-sided. I don't know what to think about this situation. Maybe they really do hate him. I'm not positive. So London court hears details of CIA plot to poison Julian Assange and steal DNA from family members. Why they would need to steal DNA, I have no clue. Some of you might be thinking, well, they need to put him in the clone machine, so we have the cloned version. I'm sure the cloned version is already out there somewhere. If you think like that, it's probably already out there. So, now in its second week, Julian Assange extradition hearing at the Old Bailey in London just heard explosive testimony, based on previously reported revelations that the CIA had actively plotted to assassinate him by either poisoning or via a kidnapping plot. I always figured they'd go with the kidnapping plot, but I don't know. So the testimony is part of the defense team's attempt to frame the U.S. extradition case as entirely political in nature and not based on breaking U.S. law, but also toward convincing the judge that the WikiLeaks founder would certainly face extreme and excessive punishment, which would be cause for Britain to block the extradition. So, I don't know. You know, whenever I heard news that he could be coming this way to face courts and things, like, the whole thing makes me nervous. This one's a really hard kind of tug-of-war for me in my mind. Because, like I said, I think that the information that we've got out of WikiLeaks can be good information. It just always turns into a political disaster over anything else. And maybe that's the whole reason for it. I'm not sure. Are they a part of that, or are they just a part of something that's kind of bigger than what most people realize? So let's kind of go on a little bit. Though mainstream media has by large ignored much of the bombshell testimony from the hearing since last week, the latest cloak and dagger type information detailing just how far U.S. intelligence was willing to go is impossible to ignore. It's weird. So let me see if there's anything else really worth looking at. While officially the firm was in charge of protecting the Ecuadorian embassy, it was simultaneously acting on behalf of the U.S. authorities, which was engaged in eavesdropping on Assange and his visitors who entered the diplomatic building to meet privately with him. Plotting by U.S. intelligence even involved scenarios wherein a kidnapping or killing could be made to look like an accident. Wow, where have we heard that before? So honestly, guys, if you want my full opinion on this, I think that they string this out every now and again, but we're not ready to play the Assange card yet. Or let's go, maybe not you and me, but the media, the elite, are not ready to play that card yet. Because, what is it, the trip code or whatever that Assange has, where if anything happened to him, there's going to be the biggest dump on WikiLeaks in the entire world sort of deal. I feel like when they're ready for like full tilt chaos is when we'll do this poisoning, kidnapping, or maybe an accidental, purposeful suicide. Yeah, that's when we'll get that. And it'll just be for full blown chaos. Let me kind of look into chat and see what you guys. Yeah, why would anyone want DNA from either of those two unless they're setting them up for an accident? Oh, that's possible. Back in the day, they were trying to get him on late. The crock pot is going to be on late. Back in the day, I think that there was a couple of women that came out and said that Assange might have raped them. I don't know what to think about that either. Like, it's possible, but then everyone always plays the rape card. And that's coming from a lady, so I think I'm allowed to say that. There's a lot of women out there that literally just draw that card or are willing to get, paid some money to go up and be the face of a whole scenario that probably never happened. It's possible. I don't know. All right, so check this out. I am so confused by this. I had no idea that these guys had some beef with each other. Maybe it just started, but Elon Musk says he won't take the coronavirus vaccine and calls Bill Gates a knucklehead. This is what you get in a tit-for-tat showdown when you have two old dudes arguing with each other. You get words thrown around like knucklehead and dummy. So, SpaceX founder Elon Musk stirred the pot yet again after claiming that neither he nor his family would take a COVID-19 vaccine, even if it was readily available. Gasp, right? The 49-year-old billionaire dropped the bombshell during a Monday appearance on the New York Times opinion podcast, Sway. He says, I'm not at risk, neither are my kids. And if you guys looked, that's the weird thing. Notice how all of a sudden, just this week, the mainstream media wants to put out what your risk is for dying from COVID, right? Not so much your risk of contracting it, but your bigger fear would be, am I going to die from this? Most of us have a 99.99% of survival. Even your grandma has like a 99.8 something chance of surviving this virus, right? And I think that even took in account for people that have pre-existing conditions. It was kind of like they just put us all in this big net, like you're gonna be okay. But if you did watch the debate last night, Trump was ready to, once they started talking about Operation Warp Speed, he let us all know that, a vaccine's being made very rapidly. We have soldiers on standby, right? The military's on standby, and that they could vaccinate 200,000 people a day. I bet that they could do more, to be honest, but, and that leaves me with this weird feeling because I've had confidence in the fact that they're not going to come beat down your door and vaccinate you. That's not how this is going to go, but I guess they could wait for you outside of your home if you wanted to go shop in the grocery store or whatever. Like I'm saying, the really shitty foreign show that I've been watching on Netflix called The Barrier. Go check that out, because I feel like that could be America 2025, except for we won't all be speaking Spanish. So during the bizarre exchange, the Tesla CEO described the nationwide lockdown as a no-win solution, which is true. Very true. You've got Disney that just laid off 28,000 employees. I mean, that's not a win for anybody. So it's diminished my faith in humanity. His faith is always diminished in humanity. That's not anything new. Musk previously called widespread quarantines unethical and de facto house arrest. So there you go. He wants anybody who's at more of a risk to be quarantined until the storm passes. I would say even if you are high risk or something, just do whatever you want to do. It's up to you. So Swisher criticized his suggestion, adding that humans could potentially die in the process, and Elon says back, everybody dies. Oh, the humor, it's so fantastic. So to emphasize the supposed ridiculousness of the quarantines, Musk boasted that SpaceX didn't skip a day. If anybody actually believes that SpaceX is doing anything major, probably just get out of chat, because most of that is some bullshit. So throughout the entire pandemic, they've just remained open. Scamdemic. We had national security clearance. Oh, how special. Because we're doing national security work, he said. They sent astronauts to the space station and back. Yeah. So later on, the automotive mogul addressed Bill Gates' criticisms of his skepticism towards the coronavirus, which Musk called dumb. During a CNBC interview in July, the Microsoft founder claimed that Musk didn't know much about vaccines and said he hoped that the SpaceX head doesn't confuse areas he's not involved in too much. Now, I found this to be very interesting. This is more what I wanted to get to. Gates said something about me, Musk is saying, not knowing what I was doing. It's like, hey, knucklehead, we actually make the vaccine machines for CureVac, that company that you're invested in. He was referring to the fact that Tesla manufactures equipment for the German biopharmaceutical firm CureVac. I had no idea that they were intertangled in that way, and maybe Bill Gates didn't either, but I mean, your investments would be pretty important, and it's crazy to think that Elon is making the machines that actually make your vaccines. So this past July, the car Magnet shaded Gates with a series of cryptic tweets that read, Billy G is not my lover, and the rumor that Bill Gates and I are lovers is completely untrue, which then just goes to make me think that these two got something weird going on. I don't even know what to think about this kind of stuff, to be honest, because it's some form of propaganda. To me, it's just who wants to put the microchip tracking device in you first, because Elon has his Neuralink, which will be sold to the world, in the beginning as this medical device, but we've seen the dystopian future that we're kind of barreling towards, and people will love it. They'll absolutely love it. The idea that they could do everything that they do on their phones just in their heads is overwhelming to most people my age. Like, they get way too excited. Way too excited. Yeah, I don't know, never listened to CRP, and if heard him, didn't like it, no beef there. There's probably not any real beef here. Sorry guys, I hadn't been paying attention to chat very much. I'm trying to pay attention. So, I couldn't mention this in the title and the thumbnail, anywhere in there. Maybe we're deep enough into this, and maybe the Fringe Files 2 channel is so small that we'll be okay talking about this. California governor signs bill opening door to paying slavery reparations. Are you serious? So, California's Democrat Governor Gavin Newsom signed a bill into law Wednesday appointing a task force, because that's what 2020 is all about, just pulling a task force out of your ass and spending any last bit of taxpayer money that you can squeeze out of us to consider paying reparations for slavery. Below is the release statement from the governor. As the nation reckons with the scourge of racial injustice rooted in the legacy of slavery and systematic racism, Governor Newsom today signed a first-in-the-nation law to study and make recommendations on reparations for slavery to the Black community through a state-based task force. He also signed 2 bills targeting structural racism and bias in our legal system by prohibiting the use of race, ethnicity, and national origin to seek or obtain convictions or impose sentences, and to reduce discrimination in jury selection. That's a mouthful. What is this actually doing for people? I live in an area of the world where most people would probably, when you hear about Arkansas, you think, oh my God, there's a bunch of racists there. I don't even live in the city, but I don't notice that sort of thing. Does it exist? Yeah, it fucking exists. It happened, nobody really fucking cares, but it happened to me. In high school, I couldn't get a job because I wasn't Indian, Mexican, from the Middle East. I got turned down everywhere in high school. Now I did live in Atlanta, so during then I was near Atlanta. And I kind of lived in the melting pot of the world, right? But nobody cared about that. And I didn't really care. I'm just like, okay, that's not cool, but I would just go and look elsewhere, right? What does this end up actually doing for people? Instead of getting you out of the system, which I should have focused more on that yesterday. All of us need to be working to get away from this system and figuring out all of our legal loopholes to get out of it. But this is that thing that's put out there to make sure that you stay in the system. You stay on the plantation that they have created for you, right? Black people don't want to look at it this way. Most of them are probably just excited with the idea of getting a little bit of extra money their way, right? Which, how are they even going to end up doing this? Is it one lump sum? Is it a monthly, a weekly, a yearly thing? I have no clue. This is California's already dying. This is going to kill California. And we see whenever you have somewhere like New York, California, I guess even Texas now, because they're turning very leftist. Whenever you see something like this happen, it's going to end up happening in other states and other communities around you, right? California is leasing streets for extra money. I didn't even know that, Polygon. Thank you. I think you've gone shopping in Texarkana at least 4 times this year. Who? I don't think I go shopping in Texarkana. That's kind of a ways from me. On top of the stimulus, on top of the government bailouts, the Fed being the lenders and buyers of last resort, on top of everything that's going on right now, this guy wants to bring up reparations, which is only going to end up pissing more people off, right? This is the problem with putting a spotlight or a magnifying glass on racism. You're going to end up having the opposite effect. But that's what they want. They want you to be pissed off with each other, right? Just for the idea of your skin color. I have no idea what somebody else of any other color or ethnicity is thinking in their head whenever I see them. The only way that you can really judge people is just being able to have a conversation with them. Sometimes it only has to be for 5 minutes, and you've got an idea if they're a good or a bad person. It's all just political games, guys. That's really all it is. It was a hypothetical in response to saying when people hear Arkansas, they think those people are racist. Okay, I think I get it now. But we're not even going to We're not even going to focus on that. So while he's thinking of reparations, though, because of slavery, Disney is laying off 28,000 employees as coronavirus slams its theme park business. Even if they could be open, I'm not positive if their revenue is where they need it to be. And I don't even like Disney. I'd probably never go to Disney anything. But it does supply jobs. Yeah, race pimping to keep them on a Democrat plantation. Exactly. So while Disney's theme parks in Florida, Paris, Shanghai, Japan, and Hong Kong have been able to reopen with limited capacity, both California theme parks have remained shuttered. This guy looks like a dumbass. Can you guys see this guy well? With his Mickey Mouse mask on? Good Lord. And you have to wonder, does he actually like Disney this much, or is this bitch got him cuckolded? Because what grown man is wearing... He's got a Disney hat, the mask, he's got a shirt with Goofy on it. That's a bit much. I'm sorry, that's just... When I see this image, I know you're not a man inside. This is the one where I could agree with you that, just because you have the parts, you might not be a man. That's insane. So prolonged closures at Disney's California-based theme parks and limited attendance at its open parks has forced the company to lay off 28,000 employees. Guys, that's bigger than some cities and towns. Like, that's a lot of people. So 28,000 employees across its parks, experiences, and consumer products division, the company said. In a memo sent to the employees on Tuesday, Josh D. Amaro, head of parks at Disney, detailed several difficult decisions the company has had to make in the wake of the coronavirus pandemic, including ending its furlough of thousands of employees. Around 67% of the 28,000 laid-off workers were part-time employees, according to the statement by D'Amaro. On Tuesday, the company declined to break down the layoffs by individual park locations. That's terrible. The park's experiences and consumer products segment is a vitally important part of Disney business. Last year, it accounted for 37% of the company's $69.6 billion, or if you just turn that 9 upside down, 666. Again, I'm not a huge fan of Disney, but I'm sure in California it can be hard enough to get a job. They really just kind of want you to be dependent on the state and government. Almost 30,000 people, like, just round that up. Almost 30,000 people. The idea of laying off that many people, even still today, as most places are trying to reopen, that's a lot. People don't realize this is going to hurt us for a long time. And this is why even before this whole scamdemic happened, a big part of what I talk about every time that I can just butt it in there, I want to talk a bit about the economy, because it's not real. It's not, everything is fake and phony. Everything that you see is fake and phony. I get trying to help the people out to an extent. Really, I'm full blown stay away from the government, make your own decisions, be responsible for yourself. So let me be heartless for a moment. The idea of letting people stay in homes, or renters having to keep people in their homes and not evict them, is kind of insane. Maybe we could do something temporary, but the fact that we're not opening it back up and we have to have insane amounts of unemployment benefits, we're trying to redo stimulus, we are bailing out all of these giant corporations, the same corporations that have been buying back their own stocks for God knows how long, and they could sell that. You don't need the government to give them money. They could sell off different assets and stocks to keep the money that they need or keep things flowing. This is insane because it's going to come back to bite us in the ass. even if they decided to come in and do that smooth transition into the digital dollar that we were talking about, because some of your banks and many of the central banks are testing the digital USD. They're not getting rid of the USD. They're just going to make it digital. So you don't notice when you're going to the store and paying $50 for a loaf of bread. You won't notice as much. And hopefully your paychecks or your stimulus and unemployment benefits keep up with that. Probably not, though. They don't want you to be doing well. This is the kind of stuff that we need to think about, because if Disney can't even keep on and hold on to employees through this kind of shit, you better believe it's affecting a great majority of the population out there. They kind of want to sweep that stuff under the rug and act like everything's still doing great. It is not doing great. Even if they turn the light switch back on tomorrow and everything could go back to how it was, the amount of debt that we've accumulated because of this fake crisis, it was already enough before this happened. The US economy is standing up on literally some broken stilts right now. It's being propped up. And we've kind of ran out of duct tape. You can't fix this. It's going to come falling down. And to add on to that, everybody thought that this was really important for me to see. I've actually seen these documents, but I don't think that I've shown them. So if you look at the COVID-19 strategic preparedness response and when it was kind of the dates on this, expected project approval date was 02 April 2020. Expected project closing date, the 31st of March 2025. That seems to be a really important number for them. But the bigger thing here is the fact that COVID-19 diagnostic tests were being bought in 2018, right? Everybody was buying them. Everybody from the European Union to Korea, France, the Netherlands, right? And then you can even find some where it goes back to 2017. Australia imports COVID-19 test kits. They spent, holy shit, a really large amount of money on these test kits. So they were importing these back in 2017, right? Check this out too. You've got China, Costa Rica, Israel, France, Sweden, New Zealand, Singapore, Japan, Romania, Finland. Everybody was buying these tests before it ever happened. I've never shown that, but I figured tonight, because everybody was like, have you seen this? Yes, I have. I have seen it. I don't just pull shit out of my ass and tell you it's a scamdemic just because. I have seen it. I just figured that everybody and their mama had also seen it. Maybe not. All of it is a big plan. And now we've had this shit show debate, which is just leading up to more chaos. It's a purposeful event, right? Because everybody agrees that neither character did a very good job. And that's actually why I watched it. I figured this was going to be the script, was for two old guys to just yell at each other for 30 minutes or more. That was the script. We're leading up to this chaotic event. It's can be a little bit nerve-wracking. I mean, I don't know what to think about all of that. I just feel like something big and dramatic is coming our way. And right now it's kind of moving. It's fast, but it's still moving slow compared to the things that I think that we could see in the next year or so. You know? We need to band together as citizenry and force Germanton to finish Alsoph before the seventh horn blows. Alright. Yeah, Hexafus, all of this has been planned for decades. You're exactly right. And nobody could ever say that we could... no one could ever say we knew exactly what was going to happen. This virus bullshit was the best thing for the elite. It's amazing to think about, actually. Absolutely astonishing. So that's all I've had for you guys tonight. I did remember to record this stream, so I guess I can put it up on the main channel later. If you end up seeing the same thumbnail again, you don't have to watch it. I'm probably going to try to put this up on the main channel. Got to keep something happening over there. And thanks everybody. I haven't really thanked you guys, but for everybody that has came over to the second account and actually cares to continue to hang out when we're live, thank you so much. I noticed today that basically everybody else that's getting copyright strikes or YouTube suspends them, it's for a week or 2 weeks. Can anybody tell me why I have 90 days? Does anybody know the actual reason why I have a solid 90 days where I can't live stream on my main channel? It's kind of been like this roller coaster ride, and today I've just kind of been pretty down about it. That's just the way it is, man. Whatever. All right, guys. Well, I'll get us out of here. I'll try to get a song that's not gay, because this was kind of playing some gay shit. No promises, though. Again, Davy Crocco is going to be on the Midnight Crockpot tonight. Let me actually pull up a, let me get a link for you guys on that. Give me just a second, guys.
I'm falling for you, baby. What can I do to make you stay? The bassline's taking over. We've come too far to turn around. So turn the music louder.
All right.
And let my feet not touch the ground.
That's Davy Crocco 3, the channel. So if you go over there sometime really late tonight, if you're still up, they should be doing their crockpot. And it should be pretty good. So y'all have a good night. Bye, guys.
Driving me crazy. Please can you stay even just for the night? I'm losing my way, but don't try to contain me, 'cause I'm still running wild. Running wild.